Hey everyone, Tala here, your friendly neighborhood podcast producer. Before we dive into this special episode of the Creator Sessions, just a quick note to set the scene. This one was recorded live from Sport Beach by Stagwell at the Cannes Lions, where we were surrounded by some of the boldest creative minds in the industry, and the energy was unreal. We had the pleasure of speaking with two incredible guests, Alka Winter, Vice President of Destination Marketing and Communications at Ras Al Khaimah Tourism and Development Authority, and Ghadeer Khub, Director of the Creative and Production Department at the Department of Culture and Tourism, Abu Dhabi. It's a laid-back conversation about tourism, creativity, and the power of sports and sporting events on tourism. All right, let's jump in.
So good morning and welcome to Sport Beach. It's a beautiful day here in Cannes. Today we're going to be talking about sports events and their integration with tourism strategies. From global to local, sporting events are playing an integral part in tourism strategies in the Middle East. We'd love to hear from both of you today about how sporting events, both large and more culturally nuanced, are playing a role in your tourism strategies. G, we'd love to hear from you first.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, and thank you so much for having us. What a beautiful place to be in Cannes today. So, yeah, look, I mean, sport matters, you know, because sport goes beyond just the games for us. It's really important that we're engaging with our communities, that we're building legacies, we're bringing sports not just, you know, to tourists and to the local residents, but also to schools and education systems. So a lot of the work that we've been doing over the last couple of years has really been integral in bringing in some global sports and global sport IPs, but actually integrating it into Abu Dhabi and integrating it into the community as well. So, I mean, I can tell you a couple of examples. Probably the most famous one is the NBA Abu Dhabi Games, but what we do there. But yeah, I think just taking basketball and really positioning Abu Dhabi as the home of basketball for the region extends beyond just our games in October, but it also goes into, you know, rebranding, refurbishing the basketball courts across the Emirates and bringing in the junior NBA into the schools and having, you know, kids have the opportunity to hopefully one day actually play for the big league. So yeah, sports is really important for us.
That's amazing. And you know, I love basketball. I'm such a basketball fan. And I was telling you earlier that I'm watching the NBA finals, and when you see the Knicks team and it says Experience Abu Dhabi, I think we all sense like we have such a great sense of pride for what that represents for our region specifically. And just on your point as well, sports and athleticism is big in Ras Al Khaimah. It really contributes to livability. It brings our communities out. Something that we're really proud of. We've been hosting, and it's our own IP, is the Iraq Half Marathon. It's the fastest half marathon in the world. It's running for 18 years, and it brings out the community in droves. I think the last one we had 10,000 participants. We get the elite athletes, and they get to train in the Emirates. We've got the region's highest mountain with Jebel Jay, so there's a lot of altitude training taking place. So we're able to use the nature aspect of our Emirate for training and athleticism. It just goes from strength to strength.
So, G, Abu Dhabi is becoming a hub for some of the most incredible sporting events globally. What's the strategy behind these big, bold moves?
Look, with big, bold moves, you know, comes big impact. So again, for us, it's really going beyond just the games and the events. So, you know, I think talking about maybe the UFC, which have been our partners for over a decade now. You know, we created Fight Island during COVID, still brought entertainment to the world while the world was closed. So for us, it goes beyond, again, just physical events in the destination, but how can we actually bring fans across the world a little bit closer to the Middle East, which is really helping also, you know, change misconceptions about the place and about the UAE in a very positive way, of course. And also really extending conversations beyond, again, the courts and the arenas and getting communities super involved, super excited about what's coming up. I love personally going to events, sport events in the destination and just seeing how many people get to come together, although they're from so many different backgrounds. I don't know if you know, kind of get the same, Alka, especially with the marathon, the half marathon you were just talking about. So
Just a wonderful array of people coming from all over the world. And when we look at sporting events, we don't have the size yet. We like to think of ourselves as a challenger brand. We have about 8,000 rooms in the destination. So the types of sporting events that we put together are not to that scale. until we, grow our pipeline. But we hosted something, the World Mini Football Championship, that brought together 32 countries into Ras Al Khaimah for 2 weeks. And yes, it fills up the room, and you look at all the metrics, it hits everything. But what's great is the economic contribution. For those 2 weeks, we were able to measure that people went out into the communities, went shopping, used other hotels and facilities, our attractions, went on our zip line to the tune of about 20 million across, 20 million dirhams across 2 weeks. So we're able to see that economic impact. We see how it impacts the community as well. And it just elevates the destination. And to your point, when we go out to markets, we get a sense that sometimes there's not familiarity about the region, or they see the UAE as a blanket Middle East destination. Once they see that you have sports and other events, and they talk to us, and they see how, progressive and how livability is a part of what we do, it just makes tourism a lot more easier to do.
Yeah.
Alka, I'd love to hear more about how do you do that economic tracking for the events? Because it's obviously incredibly important to understand those metrics.
Yeah, we look at a lot of information from the mobile devices, and we triangulate a lot of data points as well. If they're using the app, what other places are they going to? So we're able to put together a picture of who's coming in destination, whether it's coming from our source markets or outside of our source markets. And as a result, as a leadership team, we'll sit down and say, right, maybe we should be looking at promoting more in the United States. We're seeing a lot of Americans coming in for our sporting events. So that could be a market to start tackling. So it really helps inform our strategies as well.
It's amazing. G, you touched on something pretty important for us as well as an agency, which is creating fans. And I think as a region, similar to Ras Al Khaimah as well, we offer so much. And Alka, you just mentioned that maybe the stories and the nuance of the destination is not very clear to the rest of the world, right? So what would be your strategy, and the question for both of you, what would be your strategy to really reinforce what makes the destination unique and create that fandom to the destination, whether it's through sports, through the events? Of course, there's a much larger strategy behind the events. So how do you kind of pull it all together to create visitors, convert visitors to advocates and fans of the destination?
That's a really great question. I think for us, it's looking at how we can actually show up as a destination when there is sports and events that are happening across. So when you look at any event that we're hosting, and you've seen this over the last couple of years, it's gone just beyond one game in the destination. So if you come down for the NBA Abu Dhabi games, we now activate the full destination over 7 days. So you can go out and have an incredible basketball fever experience with arcades and memorabilia, and get up close and personal with some of the legends at Manaf Saadiyat. That's one way to really get basketball fans going. But because we have access, obviously, to the NBA, when we have legends appearing in the destination from time to time again throughout the year, and activating that partnership, not just again in October, but year round, it's bringing basketball closer to fans across the UAE. And I think something that's actually really interesting, over the last couple of weeks, as we were looking at, obviously with the NBA games coming up in a couple of months, what is the impact that we're actually driving? And we found that basketball participation, just since 2022, when we had the first games, has increased in the Middle East by 50%. Wow. Basketball participation. Wow. In the UAE, that number goes up to 60%. So not only are people coming out and enjoying the games,
shaping the culture, right? You're creating that.
We are shaping the culture, which is why we're really proud to genuinely be the home of basketball. We take basketball seriously, and we see that fans from everywhere love it. So, and they keep coming back.
So my son is 12 years old, and he loves basketball, and he loves seeing the games, and he's on the autism spectrum. So there's an organization called Heroes of Hope, and they also have basketball. So I love how the basketball culture and sports and athleticism is touching people on so many different levels. It's incredible. And to your point, as we look at the UAE as a whole, we're known more as the nature emirate. Our population is less than 500,000. We have lots of space. When you come into Ras Al Khaimah, you just kind of feel a sense of ease. I love going into the office because it's so relaxing. And we're known as the nature emirate because we have that wonderful topography of mountain, desert, and sea. And that really helps shape the types of events that we bring in. The types of events you bring in, we probably wouldn't be able to accommodate, but as a destination, we work with you and say, all right, you know what, come and see what you've got in Abu Dhabi, and then come over to Ras Al Khaimah and enjoy, our mountain and clean clean air and beaches and such. So I know on a federal level, we work very closely together to help map that out and stitch it up together. And we just revel in the success that Abu Dhabi has. I was just telling you, I just love seeing what you guys have been doing the last couple of years. It's very inspiring.
You've both touched upon the experience beyond the event and everything that happens around it. And what I can see as an audience member is when you're inviting sports stars, legends, and people around these activations, they naturally become ambassadors, right? And to Dia's question earlier of how do we communicate the value of the Emirate to audiences, you can see that they're doing it so naturally because they experience the hospitality, they meet the people. But something that I've seen Abu Dhabi do really well is maximise the volume and quality of content built up around these experiences. How do you approach that from both sports star, legends, and also creator approach?
Yeah, look, I think you're right, Matthew. Over the last couple of years, I mean, content is king. And beyond traditional sport kind of broadcasters, you really have to have your social game on another level during events. And so for us, we have kind of a few different ingredients that make up our kind of content strategy during events. One of it being celebrity, of course, and creators and influencers. We have seen over the last couple of years, celebrities call us to come and attend events.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I remember last year during the USAB Games, Manchester City gave us a call and they said, hey, they want to come down. Can you host Ilkay Gundogan and his wife and kid? And we said, absolutely, come down. And it was interesting because a couple of years ago, those calls would have probably been more related to the F1 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Whereas in the last 2-3 years, you know, the NBA, the UFC, Liwa Festival, it's coming back out on top. But beyond celebrity content and partnerships, it's really getting them to explore the destination. And again, away from only the arenas. So having more of an authentic cultural experience. We bring, you know, creators from all across the globe to come into our events because we also market to nearly 30 markets. So when you have to operate in 14 languages, not everything just in English and Arabic. Yeah. We'll transcend, and I think you probably feel the same.
And you know, we had Andre Iniesta who joined Emirates FC, and the first thing he did, like 2 weeks into being into Ras Al Khaimah, he was in Japan before, he said, how can I be more involved in the destination? Can I go to Rack Ceramics and, you know, maybe outfit my new home with the products there? We're like, absolutely. Can we go to the Pearl Farm as a family and learn about the pearling traditions, or go to Ghadeer Al Hamra, which is the last pearling village? So he was such a willing and able ambassador. There wasn't much to do except for, you know, making sure there were a few guardrails, but aside from that, he was a fantastic ambassador. And to your point, I think you have them coming to you wanting to be part of the success story, which is really amazing, because I can imagine a decade before it was a bit the other way around, where you'd be chasing them.
Yeah, Iniesta is such a good example to bring up. And I think I brought up Gundogan earlier. We talk a lot about footballers, but there's something interesting here. I think for us, it's looking at the different passion pillars in the different sports and looking at ways that we can actually merge them. So you've actually got me thinking now of some of maybe the best collaborations that we've done is probably between Manchester City and UFC on a summer tour, you know, where we got to promote, you know, the NBA games, the UFC games, but then actually do it while we're in the US, while we're on tour with the football team. So I'm just, it's got me thinking some of my favorite content that we've done really over the last couple of years is blended passions. Probably the highlight, maybe a couple of months ago, I don't know if you remember, you know, the Clasico legends, Real Madrid, Barca, we had the 6 legends out in Abu Dhabi. And I can tell you, till today, and over the last 6 months, every Clasico game that gets played, you have these legends that have created their dream teams under the Louvre Abu Dhabi. That piece of content continues to go viral because we've created something for the fans, with football legends, but not during anything related to football in the destination. It was during another event. So yeah, I love being able to create that content and merge those different passions. Yeah.
If you look at all the work that you've done in that space, when you're looking at the work done with like global creators, whether those be kind of entity assets or individual creators from around the world, there are people going to be listening to this podcast that work in destination marketing and work in tourism. What would you say are some of the the standout, not necessarily moments, but strategies that you believe that you've activated that have really worked for you, that others could maybe learn from?
I think, from our perspective, so Ras Al Khaimah is primarily a leisure destination. 90% of the visitors coming in are for leisure. And events, MICE, in that larger bucket accounts for about 5% of that, and we're hoping to grow that. And I think what we would advise as a team in tourism is really look at the types of events that bring scale, and also hit a lot of the touch points. It really is important to be part of that mix in your tourism strategy, and I don't think you can leave it out. Whether you can do large scale up events or even bespoke ones, it's critically important. And I think sports has such a special place because this is where the community really gets behind it, and it touches schools and gyms and fitness centers and really across the board. So I think that's definitely part of the strategy, and how you up it is really based on the growth you have planned.
Yeah, I think for me, on a product level and business level, it's looking at how you can activate your destination around a certain event. So going into, again, the local communities, local F&B, outlets, being able to have them part of it. So I think we see probably a really great example with someone like Taylor Swift, right? And the positive economic impact that she brings when she hosts, the Eras tour. So that was definitely just maybe on a product standpoint, but from a content marketing standpoint, for us, I think what has really shifted the game is this content studio that we developed and I brought into the team a couple of years ago. And it comes back from maybe my journalistic traits and background, but it's really being in the moment, getting that content out in real time, and really learning that over the last couple of years at events, we have become publishers, so it's moving away from being this advertiser mindset to a publisher mindset. And so we've got, international titles that are reaching out to us saying, can we use this content? Can we use this? And that for me is like the measurement of success is, wow, okay, people are not just listening to us, but the moments that we get to share back with fans globally, those are the moments that they're engaging with and everyone wants to see. And I think it just generates a bit of FOMO as well.
It goes back to your point of the requirement to have social on fire when you're running these events, right? Whether that be through creators, whether it's content you're publishing yourself. If you miss that opportunity, then the impact is obviously less than it could be. So,
yeah. I love that answer because you just literally hit a lot of keywords that we use as well as part of our strategy. I'm like, yes, yeah,
and that's why you're my digital content partners.
I think what could be interesting, there's so much changing in the landscape of content and the way that people are consuming content. If we were to make a bold sort of suggestion around what the future of destination marketing could look like, from either a campaign level or even kind of ambassador content perspective, where do you guys feel the direction of content is heading with AI and the way people are consuming at the moment social?
It is a big question, and I think it's something we're all grappling with. Our SEO agency will show us the outcomes of our website, but search is going elsewhere. It's going towards social. I think they're saying about 70% of people now get more inspired on what they see on social than my website. And a great example, I was in Sweden for a work trip, and my husband's like, you know what, you need to see the Northern Lights. He goes, I'll fly you out there to Kiruna, the northernmost airport in Sweden. And so I got there, a solo traveler, in the middle of snow, and I wanted to know what to do. The last thing I looked at was the destination website, and I was searching more on social for that inspiration. And so we're looking at those areas of social commerce. How do we make things more bookable through that? And then with agentic AI, it's really interesting, the developments there. It's gone beyond chatbots to agentic, where we can start building our audiences. So if we know there's sports goers that would come to our destination or would like to come to our destination, we can create a digital twin and ask them questions like, does Ras Al Khaimah resonate with you? Would you come for this event? How often do you travel? Are you specifically traveling for a sporting event? So there's so many applications that we can get real-time information. I think it's really exciting, but I think it's something we're all challenged with in a great way.
And that's a whole nother podcast, and we'd love to hear. We'd love to hear about what you're doing in the agentic AI space, but we'll save that. G, yourself.
Yeah, look, I think for me, bold statements, but I'm a social girly. Social's my bread and butter, and And you're right, 70% of actually travel decisions happen because they've been exposed to something on social. Take Cannes, for example. The first thing I did is, what do I do in Cannes on TikTok? Didn't go to Google. Didn't use Gemini either to get that answer. Only also because I'm also a very much visual person. And, you know,
Did you just
you
say
wanna
Sport
see
Beach
something.
just across the entirety of
It
TikTok?
was how to get the Sport Beach.
Our strategy worked, right? Full
Absolutely.
takeover of TikTok.
Thank you, Stagwell. But look, I think for me, because of that belief, I believe that everything should be made for on that platform too. So I'm actually really excited to see where platforms take marketing and how they build experiences on their own channels. I think Google is such an incredible and forward thinker, and I think they've been able to really develop a lot of different technologies to bring fans closer to events. But I want to see that. I want to see that more with Meta, you know, and with TikTok and with Snap. So I'm gonna challenge them and say, you know, bring us closer beyond live streams, you know, and beyond just creator collaborations. What are maybe the travel tools and maybe formats that we're going to create on those channels to keep people there, so that they don't have to go off to a website or to an app and kind of disrupt that customer experience.
We have a few ideas.
Interesting.
I think one final question. It's another big question, but I'd love to know, what's the one sporting moment that you feel has really helped shape perceptions of your destination over the last couple of years?
One sporting event that's shaped, I would say the Rack Half Marathon. We've been doing for 18 years. It's our own IP. We love it, and it's such a community type brand. His Highness Sheikh Saud comes out as well. The passion that we have for that event is incredible. And when you get the elite athletes coming in from all over the world and you see them training on Marjan Island or they're up in the mountains, it's incredible. I think that event alone has really shaped the destination, because it's been there, it's coming up to 18, 19 years now. It is a legacy event for us. And of course we also have, you know, other events that take place, like the DP World Golf, the UAE Tour also comes through our destination. But I would say Rack Half Marathon holds a special place, and I was able to complete the 21K. So
Well done!
Oh, well done.
It's even closer to your heart. Yeah.
Personally invested.
Well
Look,
done.
events, it's about how it makes you feel, right? So if you've done it, it stays with you.
I'll join you on the next one.
Oh, please.
Yes.
Great. Wonderful.
We're gonna have to start training
We can
from
train
today.
on the mountain.
That's a full commitment on camera.
No, I love that you touched on legacy, because I think just looking back to the events that we've hosted in Abu Dhabi, look, the F1 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for us over a decade now has definitely shaped the perception of the destination. And honestly, I think it's also the timing of that Grand Prix being the final race of the season. So all the drivers are out, you see all their families with them as well. They've got the kids running around, they've got the theme parks across Yas Island. So for me, it's beyond just motorsport. It's really, this is the end of the year where it's probably a little bit colder in more European cities, but the sunshine is shining in Abu Dhabi. It's a spectacle, 4 days back to back to back. Entire city comes together. I think you guys have all been to the Abu Dhabi F1. But it's just such an incredible event that, yeah, again, everyone around me has FOMO when we're on ground, and we want to continue driving that FOMO year on year.
And let's not miss the opportunity to plug the new movie.
Yes, we do. Yes, we've got our premiere next week.
Okay.
The official F1 movie in Abu Dhabi.
I watched them filming it at the last race.
Yeah.
You could see him coming out in the car, and it was incredible.
They did, yeah. I think they actually spent around 29 days with the Creative Media Authority actually filming the F1 movie. Actually, that's a really great example that you brought up on again, taking it beyond just the event week, but throughout the year, you know, and bringing fans closer to motorsport and seeing Abu Dhabi live in action.
And obviously, I mean, that story is yet to be told on a global stage, but it's an incredible asset to tell the story of Abu Dhabi.
Absolutely.
And it springboards into your films as well, and how you use the destination as a wonderful backdrop for films, which is probably another discussion altogether.
That's another podcast. Guys, we've got a couple of podcasts.
Yeah, all these topics are coming up. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Well, I think in wrapping, I just want to say, thank you so much for spending this morning with us here at Cannes, and it was really cool to represent the region, right? I think this is for us
Amazing.
the first time to be here and represent, well, here officially, I'd say, and just have a great conversation with you, and thank you so much for spending time with us this morning.
Thank you so much
Thank
for having
you.
us. It's been wonderful.
Amazing.
Amazing. On the beach in the south of France. Not too bad.
Maybe go for a swim.
That's a good ending.
Yeah.